Hello everyone and welcome to my stamp studio. It's Monday, a day for me to pull from my stash and show a holiday card made with a maybe non-traditional stamp set or bundle. Now today I don't think you get more non-traditional than this. This is obviously a very spring summery flowery set, Blossoms in Bloom. It's a 17 stamp set, photopolymer, that bundles also with the bloom dies. And this is a gorgeous set. I used it for my class to go kit several months ago, and so I know that lots of you have it out there, and I just think it's a great way to pull something like this and use it for the holidays. So let me show you what I've created. So I'm starting out with kind of a bright card base. I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green as my card base. I have a piece of Whisper White here that layers on that nicely. I've already run it through one of the wrapped in textured holiday embossing folders. This is a combo pack. Comes in a set of these two, and it's in the current holiday catalog right now too. If you don't have these, I feel like any embossing folder would easily work with this project. So as you can see, the embossing folder is a little more narrow than the piece of paper I cut. So you can see there's little edges down the side there that do not have texture. I actually think this adds a lot to this card, so I just left it like that. And it just gives it a nice little border down each edge here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, just put some dimensionals on the back side of that piece there to attach it to our card base. And then also for this card, I'm using some cherry cobbler, another piece of Granny Apple Green, and then another piece of Whisper White, okay? And I'm taking these gorgeous dies that come in this set, and I am going to run the Whisper White die through this larger, thicker flower die, okay? And then I'm also going to take that same die and run the Granny Apple Green cardstock through it. And then the little finer lined die, I'm going to run the cherry cobbler piece through the Big Shot, okay? Once I've done that ahead of time just to save time here. So I would end up with a white piece and the green piece, remember too, the Granny Apple Green. And what I did was I went in and I just cut out all the leaves off that green one. And then I just stuck those right there on top of the white just to give that a little bit of color, that green behind there to give it that holiday green flair. The smaller one that I ran through the cherry cobbler is this one here, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I end up with these pieces here. I'm going to go ahead on my white piece and flip it over. I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals here, and I'm going to take and just put a mini dimensional in the center of all these flowers. Okay, even these little small ones off to the side. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll peel those off here. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to attach this to our card. Now, everybody kind of probably has, if you have this set and have had a chance to play with it, I kind of like to orient it so that these three leaves are down here in the right-hand corner. But obviously, you can do it however you want if you have this bundle. And I know, like I said, lots of you do out there. Okay, now that's actually very pretty like that with just green and white, I think. But let's add a little more holiday flair to it by adding our cherry cobbler piece overlay. And if you remember right, when I did this for my class to go kit, I showed you a quick tip on how you can get some adhesive on a very detailed die cut. So I'm going to go ahead and taking my multi-purpose glue. I have my silicone mat here underneath, and I'm just going to go ahead and oops some multi-purpose glue out onto it. I have a sponge dauber here. You could also use one of our round sponges that Stampin' Up sells as well. I just think the dauber's nice because it's right on my finger and I have good control of it then. And I'm just going to go around here and I'm going to hit the centers of all those flowers. Now, if I wanted to go around all the little individual petals, I could do that as well. Remember that this is just paper, so I don't get crazy with a lot of glue. It doesn't take much to hold it. It's very thin. And this is very dainty that if I did too much around there, I feel like I might even tear it, okay? So I just kind of dab just a little bit, mostly on the centers of all those flowers. I hit the leaves on the side and also the leaves on these other sides here as well, because I want those to stick really well over my granny apple green part that's underneath, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab this and bring it over. And I am going to place it right here on top. And remember that this glue dries pretty strong, so I want to make sure before I actually lay it down that I have it exactly where I want it. And it's actually very easy because those green leaves really help it pop off all that white. So if I just focus on those outer edges here and just getting those green ones lined up, I can do that very easily right there, okay? Now, does that not say Christmas? Who would have thought? It's just this beautiful green, red, and white card that is just Christmas to me. And then let's add just a little bit of silver metallic bling to it because that will say Christmas even more. We'll go ahead, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue to attach this right across here. I actually think I'm going to go up a little bit. I didn't want to cover my leaves. So I had it down here and it was going to cover some of those leaves. So I came up to the top here where there's really a better gap in the flowers and the leaves to be able to place that. And I'm just gently just rubbing that across there. I have a Merry Christmas that is actually from the Arrange a Wreath stamp set. And I did some red cherry cobbler on that and I poured some clear embossing powder over that. Remember that any of your ink pads can become embossing powder colors. You just simply need to put clear embossing powder over it as quickly as you can after you stamp, okay? And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to place that Merry Christmas right there in front, just so if you didn't already realize the red and green was Christmas card, here you go, you have a Merry Christmas on the front as well. I think it's beautiful this way. If you wanted to add a little ribbon, you could as well, but I think this turned out really cute using the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set. Again, a very spring summer flower set, but by changing up the colors and just doing a little bit of the metallic there, created a gorgeous holiday card. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week.